Hey everyone, my name is Rebecca Isek. I am a second year civil engineering student and I'm from Harlingen, Texas. Alright now, so what got me interested in civil engineering? Great question you got there. Well, when I was in high school, I actually took a couple of STEM courses just like y'all are taking right now, or just the classes in general that are incorporating these STEM activities within your class. So essentially, the whole aspect behind like STEM really interested me when I was y'all's age. And you know, when you end up going to college, you have to pick a major, so it was kind of like, oh, engineering. But then what about the civil engineering, Rebecca? Another great question. Yeah, so my dad, he actually worked in construction, and if you know anything about civil engineering or don't, it is essentially engineering plus a combination of construction. So that kind of like really influenced me and is the main reason why I'm here today, about to present something related to civil engineering. Alright now, so today I'm going to show you how to build a popsicle bridge. Exciting stuff, right? If you kind of want a sneak peek of what the final product will look like, I got you. Ooh, la la, she is a beauty. I know, right? But Rebecca, how did you get to actually create that? Another great question. Okay now, if we want to create that, we first need some materials. And you can find those materials on the PDF. But just to kind of briefly go over them again, it is 100 popsicle sticks, a glue. Wait, this is 100 popsicle sticks. Then the glue. Here's the glue in the hot glue gun. And some weights. So in my case, I got some flour up in here and some sugar. Awesome. Okay now, what is next? The next step is getting started. So this is really the first step of the whole building and design process. So we'll just call it the first step, since the other stuff we're grabbing the materials. And in this step, what we want to do is plan. We want to plan what we're going to create beforehand. Because in the real world, if you just go ahead and grab some materials and create something, a lot of the times it's not going to go so well. So a good thing to start off with is planning. Alright now, how are we going to plan? Well, I actually planned a little bit beforehand, so y'all don't really have to look at me brainstorm and all that. So here is my planning. If you zoom in, it says planning right here, and it's really brief too. Honestly, all you have to do is know what type of bridge you want to create. And so what a bridge is made up of is trusses. This is a truss, that is a truss. A truss is essentially a bunch of different triangles put together to create one single object in a bridge or a roof or any single type of building that you see like that. Construction project, something along those lines. And then after that, I created a sketch. So this is what I want it to look like. So that was my planning. Super duper brief. It doesn't have to be super exquisite. Of course, you can go ahead and also create goals for yourself. So right now we have 100 popsicle sticks that we can use. But do we really want to use 100 popsicle sticks? Do we want to use less? We can't use more because we only have 100 popsicle sticks. So these are important factors to consider beforehand in order to save money. And we know that each popsicle stick costs $100 and each hot glue costs $200. So you have to keep in mind all of that beforehand if this were a real project. But in our case, we're just here to have some fun. And yeah, that is the first step. Okay, after that, we will start constructing the actual bridge. And so to do that, we first want to get different sections of it before we assemble it completely together. So I started off by creating some triangles. this is what you see right here. Same thing. Cool. We got our triangles ready. How many triangles do you want to create? It's up to you. But remember, we're trying to limit the amount of popsicles that we use. Okay, so after that, we want to create a base because people are walking on this bridge, cars are going over, so we want to make sure that they're not falling in the water, right? Okay, so this is my base. Quite pretty, huh? Honestly, like, if it's not beautiful, your bridge at the end of this, as long as it works, hey, it works. But in the real world, we're gonna try to make it much nicer and aesthetically pleasing. But again, since this is just a project, no worries. Okay, after that, in all honesty, just go for it. You start assembling it using your handy dandy got hot glue gun. But try to be logical about how you put it together, in the sense that you don't want to just randomly jumble it all together. You need to look at your sketch and see, okay, I want this triangle right here. But how are you going to make sure that it stays together? So that's another step that we can add. For this step, you want to make sure that you assemble it accordingly, logically, that whenever you touch it, it's not flimsy and it's not going to fall in 5 seconds. And once you have that set, then you can just add the top. Make sure that whenever you add all these different bases and all these different triangles together, that it is again glued intact, because if you do not have this glued intact, it just won't be good. I promise you. So try to have it intact beforehand. I'm hitting it just so you can see. Good stuff. Great. Okay, so, wow, we've been here for quite a couple of minutes now. We are finally going to get to the end product of this all, which is the exciting part. And that is to see if the bridge works. Okay, I'm going to stop now, but we'll be right back to see if it worked. Perfect. Alright, we're back, and good news, it worked. Okay, so with all of that done, what did we see in this activity? Essentially in this activity, saw how the trusses impact the structure. Remember, this triangle-like thing is the truss. And honestly, if we didn't have this triangle-like figure, it doesn't even have to be like this exactly, just like triangles put together in general. It probably wouldn't have been as successful. Again, you can try to prove me wrong, but that's kind of what history has shown. But essentially, by completing this activity, we kind of just saw a brief overview of what trusses are capable of. Yeah, it held my flour and my sugar, but in real world, it holds a lot more. Where else do we see this though, aside from bridges? This is the dramatic effect where you're supposed to think. Alright, now if you thought already, yeah, we see this in a lot of places, like in roofs. Whenever you're inside your house, how do we have a roof, something to cover our heads? Well, we use these trusses to support big loads, as well as an airport. When we have an area where it's just long and you don't have anything under, this is where we use trusses most of the time. So, with all of that said, I think we are done for the day. But I'm gonna let y'all get to the project now if you haven't gotten already to it. And also just make sure that you think about how are we using everything that you're seeing right now in real life. So yeah, that is it. Guys, thank you so much for completing this activity with me, and I hope you found it helpful or at least somewhat enjoyable when you were actually getting around to the project. Yeah, that's it. Welcome.